jump straight in. We'll start with the book, Tesla and the Pyramid. Jump straight in there, just a deep rabbit hole. Page 1, open it up. 1943, US intelligence confiscates Nikola Tesla's final research. All his research, all his writings, everything. The man brought in to assess it all, no other than MIT physicist John G. Trump. Yep, that's Trump's uncle. Now, everything Trump's uncle looked at is still classified. Apparently it was 2 truckloads of books and information, which is unbelievable that they claim to have found nothing worthy. Trump's uncle said, no, there's nothing here, nothing, nah, don't worry about it, I'll just take some home. Like, Tesla was into like time travel and all sorts of things going on. So, you know, I'm sure there was more than nothing. And if there was something, having it still classified is extremely suspicious. But anyway, we flick in a couple of pages after that. Novel drops into swarms of energy orbs are reported worldwide. Their exotic propulsion, unexplained. That happened in real life. The late 2024 was when all these orbs and UFO things were flying around, and you know, it was crazy. It was a big news story. Like, you might find that during this you'll get little triggers. You'll be like, oh yeah, I think I remember that. Always worth looking it up. If you don't believe me or the timing of the book, which, you know, I'm just talking about the book, not really myself or my timing, but all these little events happened. So it was very, very strange. And it just gets weirder. So in the book, there's a whistleblower. He's on the run. He's CIA. He's got information. He's got documents. Very top secret. He hijacks a Cybertruck near a pyramid after leaving a manifesto. Now, 1 month later in the real world, a guy is running from the CIA with classified documents and secrets. He parked outside where? Trump Tower in Vegas and blew himself up in the Cybertruck. People claim that he ate a bullet beforehand or as it all happened, but who cares? It doesn't really matter. Point being, the book was talking about this exact thing a month after the book's release in late 2024. It happens. Literally, the CIA guy blows himself to bits, you know, outside Trump Tower. So, you know, that's pretty crazy stuff. So, and the thing is, with that CIA kind of thing, I'll pull up a bit of a video for it so you can kind of see what I'm on about. You know, he was just down the street from the Luxor Pyramid. It's a big black pyramid in Vegas, and it has a big beam of light coming out of the top of it. So, like, that is crazy. The book just said a pyramid. Didn't say in Vegas, but still, like, uncanny. Within a month of this thing coming out. So that's, you know, that's pretty bloody crazy in my books. And then you've got the driver was from Colorado Springs. That's where Nikola Tesla discovered, you know, basically scalar physics and that kind of thing. His manifesto claimed that the Jersey orbs swarm was classified tech. So the guy in the real life, this guy in the background at the moment, he claimed that the government had information on very classified tech, propulsion or something or other. And then he blew himself up. Like, it's just crazy. You know, it's the connections are surgical. This is yeah, it kind of blows my brain, you know. And I'm not here to push the book. I'm not making any money. I don't get kickbacks for any of this kind of stuff. So, right. So the book gets weirder, as in, you know, Monolith. That's the name of the publisher. No real name. Can't find anything about him. Done a bit of digging. Him or her. Monolith. That's the publisher. Never made a book before. Never made a book after. No online presence. Yeah, no other books. Nothing. Just Monolith. All right, now we've got kind of direct lines to things there, because you've got a direct line to Stanley Kubrick, who made Space Odyssey, Eyes Wide Shut, you know, all those kind of, you know, movies. So Stanley's well known. You would have seen like The Shining. There's so many. He's also the guy who was responsible for a lot of the footage you see of the moon, because the moon landing, they claim that they couldn't do all of it from the moon or something, so they had to replicate the moon landing in a studio, and they admit to that. And Stanley was the man. He was the one who filmed it all and put all that together. So, you know, Stanley goes pretty deep. I would say, you know, he's on the inside of a lot of stuff. Seems to know stuff way before everyone else. I don't know if G. Trump gave him access to information or anything that he might have found in someone's apartment a long time ago. But either way, it's weird. Like, if you look up Stanley, you find out some pretty weird stuff, and just watch his movies, and that'll blow your mind, you know. All right, so we've got the Stanley with an iconic symbol, you know, advanced technology, all this stuff going on. So the author's name of Tesla and the Pyramid, which you can see in the back, that's the front cover for the actual book. The author's name is Jerna Brown from Utah. Yeah, the same Utah where the mysterious real-life monolith, like a triangular prison, was found in the desert. People just like came across a weird shiny thing in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Utah. All right, so the guy who wrote this book, Tesla and the Pyramid, lives in the same state as where the monolith was found. Not the one from the movies, there's a real one. I've got footage of it, we'll probably get there in a minute. Just, you gotta bear with me a bit. There's a bit to get through. There's some pretty wacky stuff going on here. And it'll all come together in the end. Again, if you've only just joined, follow and subscribe and all that jazz, because this will be a multi-part series. I won't be able to get through this in an hour. I don't have much more than an hour today to cover a lot of this. So we got all these different links. You can see that's the before I was talking about the actual pyramid in Vegas and how the guy in the Tesla truck blew himself up just down the road from that. So he blew himself up at Trump Tower, which is literally just a couple of blocks away from that. And the book stated this was going to happen next to a pyramid, all that kind of jazz. Now, this is from Stanley Kubrick's A Space Odyssey. That's the monolith in the movie, if you remember what it was like. The apes have found old technology. So they found, well, advanced technology, because humans were reset and we're back to basically the apes. Now, that is the Utah Monolith. So that thing there is a real life monolith which was just found in the middle of a desert in Utah. And it doesn't make sense, but the connection is that this book was the publisher, who no one knows anything about, his name, or the company name is Monolith. All right, now this is all weaving together with Stanley and everything else going on. So, you know, it's pretty crazy. In the book, they go on a lot about manipulation of prismatic geometry and resonance. That basically we can alter higher dimensions through waveform. Now, if you know much about Nikola Tesla, he's on about that kind of stuff all day long. He's on about numbers and frequency and blah, 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 blah. And he believed that, you know, time travel was a possibility. He could, like, most of his inventions that we never knew because they were shut down, they were, you know, brought out, or he was, you know, fell off the planet before anything could be released. But, he, you know, in his lifetime, he did some incredible stuff. So if you don't know who Nikola Tesla is properly, well worth researching him. I'm not going too far into him here. Maybe at the end I'll throw in a video of him, you know, just so you can kind of get an idea of how special Nikola Tesla was. And unfortunately, if Nikola Tesla had been able to help humanity, and if he hadn't been, you know, locked down and controlled so heavily, the world would probably be a lot better place than it is. Or, like the monolith and like 2001 The Space Odyssey, we would have just reset ourselves. We would have wiped ourselves out, which is probably more than likely, you know. Giving stupid people high technology that you don't understand, all we ever seem to do is war. I don't know, it's the human instinct is to just be a bunch of assholes. It's just how it is. And until everyone kicks out the powers that be that are in there now, this is just going to continue. You know, nothing's going to be glorious. But anyway, back to the book. So the only quote on the back cover reads, like watching a Spielberg direct. Right, so on the back, the only quote quotes Steven Spielberg. And him and Stanley Kubrick, they are just all through this book. And they're very famous people, but they're iconic because of the icons they use in their movies and that kind of thing, which, again, this will all make sense. So then 3 months after the publication is released of Tesla and the Pyramid, Spielberg announces his next film. It's called Disclosure. You can't make it up, all right? Disclosure, all right. Now, what we're talking about here is disclosure. It's all tying in. And he started filming in New Jersey. That's where the orb swarm started. Like, that's where it all began, which was also in the book. So, I don't know if that makes 100% sense. I'm just connecting all the little bits of this rabbit hole as we jump down it, because there's a lot of them. It might be a bit hard to kind of put them all together. Reading a book and then trying to translate that book into a live is not the easiest thing at the best of days, for myself especially. Now get this, the Utah Monolith was reported or found in November the 18th in 2020. The New Jersey orb swarms were reported November 18th, 2024. 4 years later, both happened on November the 18th. Now, I don't know the significance of November 18th, but just those little things just freaks me out a little bit. It's just, there's so many dates that are just, doing the same thing. And as you can see, this just isn't a rabbit hole. This is a mine shaft we're going down, and we've only just got into it. So again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you've just jumped on the live or you're seeing a clip online or whatever, I'm going to have to break this up into little parts. So if it's something that sounds interesting to you, you might want to go and check out my channel, look for this series, if you've missed the beginning or the end or whatever. So, that's how it is. So, back to it. So the science in this book is quantum leap. The author's surname is Brown. Now, I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but anyone familiar with Townsend Brown, the Caltech physicist who vanished into black projects working on anti-gravity, which was right up Tesla's alley? The novel, the scientist name in the novel is from Caltech, and he has the same device. That's what he's doing. So you got real life, Townsend Brown, a physicist, very, very clever guy. He's working on anti-gravity stuff, goes dark. No one knows where he is, what he's doing. In the novel, the scientist is also from the same area, same thing, The book claims that we had this technology before, like anti-gravity, kind of time travel-y stuff, and that we've been reset. It talks about governments hiding catastrophic warnings. I don't know how you say, but there's a really, really old Gobeltech Tipi. I'd say, I just can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's more than, they kind of date it 12,000 years ago, blah, 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 blah. But it's basically, there's a lot of structures and things that, archaeologists have found. And funnily enough, I was only reading recently that the WEF stopped the Globitar Tipi. I just don't know if I'm saying it right. But it's one of the oldest structures that we've found and that archaeologists have started digging up, and they just stopped digging it up. They got to a certain level of unearthing everything, and they just went, no, no more. WEF even came in and said, nah, we're not doing that. Boys, stop digging. And that one's just been left alone. So probably the most important archaeological dig in the world has now stopped. And it's not because of a lack of funding. Like, how much does it cost to have a paintbrush and move dirt away and dig some holes and dig stones up? So to me, something was found there. So, so basically, yeah, resets also happen every 12,000 years, apparently. So around 12,000. And from the Taipei archaeological site, they're claiming it's 12,000 years old. So whatever they found could have been from a prior reset. So, that's kind of interesting. Again, I'm jumping around a little bit. We're only just kind of getting started. So the book also describes structures beneath Egypt, with a massive staircase going down 2 kilometers. Right, 4 months after this book's release, real-world scans revealed deep staircases and vaults exactly 2 kilometers below Geyser. Like, what the hell is going on? And what the book basically says is that at the bottom of these stairs, in the the cavities down there, that we will find an old technology which will revolutionize everything. So we actually have the possibility, because this, the stairs were found, now 6 months ago, say, from today. Not much word about them. Yeah, no one's really saying much about them. And I can guarantee you someone's been down there. You don't find stuff like that and just ignore it and go, it's probably nothing down the bottom. Don't worry about it. Just someone built 2 kilometer deep staircase for no reason, apparently. It's like the whole pyramid thing anyway. Like, we're lied to. They're not tombs. It's obvious they're not tombs. They're doing something else, and but whatever. I think most of society likes staying asleep. It's all too scary if you knew the truth. And unfortunately, I don't think anyone really does. It's all departmentalized, all these 3-letter agencies have information that they all just keep their little sections deliberately so you can't piece it together. So this is why you got to do deep dives. And like, this is speculation. Like, a lot of what I say is just speculation, but today we're talking about a book, which came out in late 2024, Tesla and the Pyramid, which links together so many things. But it blowed my mind to find that just, a day after it was released, weird shit happened. 2 weeks later, weird shit's happening. Everything that was happening, it was like a playbook, all right? I don't know whether this was prophecy or just a playbook. It was like maybe Trump's uncle got involved with writing this book. Maybe he's Monolith, the mysterious producer. I don't know. Who knows? It's all speculation. But the factual parts that we're dealing with is what the book said before these events happened. So none of these events happened before the book, but maybe they did. Maybe there was parts of this book where stuff's happened before this even. All I've researched is stuff after, because stuff before is no good. They might have already known about it themselves or whatever. So we're dealing with the aftermath. And I tell you, this book is spinning my head around. So anyway, we'll get back to it. So we got the deep staircases in Geyser, like, under the pyramids and all this kind of stuff. Again, nothing. I'm sure there's nothing there. No, sure there isn't. But the novel claims that Tesla physics annihilates space-time distance. That he had some sort of plans that annihilates space-time. Now, look, I'm not a physicist. I'm not Tesla. I don't know what he's talking about, but to me, that means you're moving time, which means you can probably travel up and down it, all around it, right? And that's a claim from Tesla just before he died. Some of his last works, were going along this sort of stuff, but again, we'll never know. And then you got Stanley's 2001: A Space Odyssey, ends with a journey beyond the infinite, transcending space-time. Like, that's kind of weird, But again, because 2001 was made beforehand, yeah, not as weird as the stuff that happened after the book was released. That it's just a mirror of what the book says, but still interesting, Because like even Hollywood, a lot of movies seem to be preemptive. It's almost like you can create the future. Like, you make a movie, and because as you know, a lot of technology comes out of movies, which is it's basically happens. Star Trek stuff, it's because enough people see that and we manifest stuff. Manifestation's a lot to do with this book, but it's a lot to do with everything else. And again, I've got lots of videos on manifestation. It's an interesting thing, and I use it daily, as everyone should. Everyone should know their own powers, because you don't have to be in the cold Tesla to realise that humans are pretty special. But anyway, getting off topic there. All right, so then, in April 2025, America's science cars stand at the White House podium and announce that the US now has tech that can manipulate space and time. Right, this guy, this tech guru at the White House, his exact words were, "All distance is annihilated." A direct quote from the book. what the hell's going on? They're talking the same language. How many people are going to say annihilated as a way to express destroying time? And what? It's just, yeah, it gets a bit too tricky. All right, so now we're going to get into the ridiculous meta. All right, so we've got Stanley Kubrick's films. They're like a cheat code, all right? We've got the Monolith, got the black cube of Saturn. Sorry, I turned off my video. I should put that back on in the background. Sorry about that. So we've got, you can see in the background, we're dealing with Stanley stuff here. So interesting enough that a Space Odyssey, originally, the monolith that they use where the monkeys are jumping around it, originally that, before the film was, edited and finished, it wasn't just a slab of rock, it was actually a crystal pyramid. So Space Odyssey 2001 originally wasn't the slab with the monkeys dancing around it, it was a crystal pyramid. So very interesting, because it kind of lines into it all. It's all kind of all a part of what we're dealing with. And you just can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. So you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see, my head's in the way of it a bit. No. All right, but anyway, so 2001, the original set, it's kind of, unfortunately, I'm breaking it up. I'm kind of in the way a little bit. But anyway, we're just moving on. We're moving on. So here you see posters. I'm just going to talk about pictures in the background for a minute, and then we'll get back to the book. So everything's kind of encoded, Hollywood and that kind of thing. You can see that you've got Pink Floyd's album, Pyramid, light, refraction, all that kind of stuff. Very powerful. We'll go into a bit of that later on, but the black cube of Saturn and all this kind of stuff, it all makes sense. And as above, so below. All this stuff will kind of make sense, if you roughly know what I'm talking about. So you've got another Stanley movie next to that, Clockwork Orange, classic movie, pretty weird. But even the cover, look at the cover. It's a pyramid with the all-seeing eye. Exactly the same. You look at the Tesla and the pyramid cover, look at Pink Floyd. You can see it's a mirror image with the rays just going a different way. All got the seeing eye, that kind of thing. And the last one, which on the big screen I can't quite see because, again, my little screen above my head is in the way, but you've got the typical, it's everywhere. The pyramid and the all-seeing eye, you're supposed to know that symbol for a reason. It's on every dollar, US dollar bill. So, it's that kind of thing. So, a lot of symbolism, and symbolism obviously is very, very important. It affects our psyche, and the people who know symbolism well and truly know that. They use it all day long. Again, Hollywood, ads, colours, logos, it's all a thing, It's nothing's a coincidence, I'll put it that way. And even the covers of books and music and that kind of thing, none of that's a coincidence. So it is what it is, and that kind of thing. So so we'll move on. We've got covers. All right, so Nikola Tesla, he was funny with numbers. He was an absolute numbers freak. His 369 is a massive thing. Again, did a video about that. But everything in his life evolved around threes and sixes and nines, and a lot to do with threes. And you got the Masonics with their threes. If you know anything about numerology, 3 is pretty powerful stuff. And there's always a reason it'll be there. So even Nikola Tesla lived in a hotel, and 3327. 27's 9, 336. So if you can see the numbers here, I'm not a big numbers guy myself, but his room number is like, it's just in your face if you know anything about numbers and Tesla and that kind of thing. So you've got your 2 3s, 2 3s is 6. You've got 2 after the 2 3s, 2 3s 6, and then you got 2 and 7, 9. 3 3 6 9. That's his numbers, and he was manic. He used to go, like, before he went into like the tower he lived in, the apartment building, he walked around the block 3 times. Flicked the light switch 6 times. That kind of guy. He's pretty special, if you know what I mean. But a genius all the same. A lot smarter than I am. I'm not picking on him, just saying. All right. So yeah, we got Tesla's room, and we kind of got the like Stanley's mazes. So it's I don't know. This one's a little bit hard to explain. So we basically got the hedge maze in The Shining, which is a Stanley movie, The Shining, old sort of 70s kind of stuff. It didn't. I don't know how to put this one, but basically, there's a maze and there's a core plot with Tesla and the pyramid, and The Shining, like, it doesn't exist in the book, but it mentions the mazes and it uses them from films. So I don't know how to take that one, and maybe if you understand what I'm trying to point out here, and if you yeah, because I'm a bit baffled by that one. I know it's a point of the book, but I'm just not sure exactly what that's got to do with it. So again, if you add to the comments, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm giving you a breakdown of a book, a bit of a summary really, because the book's pretty thick, and I'm not going to do every page. I think the middle of the book's a little bit wishy-washy anyway. It gets, I don't know, not as good. The beginning, end strong. The beginning amazing, end strong. Good book for that. Middle a bit, yeah, how's your father? But anyway, doesn't matter. So the book mentions the labyrinth of Egypt, which is, yeah, The Shining has the maze, which is kind of weird. It's like a hotel and a maze and this kind of thing. So this book, Tesla and the Pyramid, seems to reference a lot of stuff Steven Spielberg and Stanley, who made all, the biggest movies in the world, basically. So the book mentions the Labyrinth of Egypt. In June 2025, satellite scans find it in the exact place the book said. All right, so it was in a film. The book mentions this thing that, it was in a film, and the mazes are a core plot of Tesla and the pyramid. It's always going on about mazes, especially the middle of the book. So it's something to do with it. And then it states that there'll be like basically a maze found underground, which was very significant. And then 6 months after the book's released, satellites find it. They scan it and they found these mazes, which is just, it's bending my brain a little bit too much. So I'll just like kind of continue on with a bit of video, I suppose. And so within all that, in the maze, they find a tic-tac, like a tic-tac body, like a shape in the middle of the maze that's like a tic-tac. Now, I don't know the significance of that. I know there's been weird tic-tac UFO things, when the orbs were around. So I don't know. Again, if you know more about this, please, in the comments, let me know. I like feedback. And again, I don't know what I'm talking about really. And if you've either read the book or the movies, please correct me, because I'm not the biggest movie buff. I'd rather read a book than watch a movie, but I still don't even read enough books really anyway. So, but yeah, not the biggest Hollywood fan, so not always into every book, but I have seen a lot of these classics, so it kind of makes sense to me. And yeah, all right. So Spielberg, Ready Player One, ventures into Stanley's stuff, Stanley's movies and books, The Shining, and a sequel that's not in the original book. So again, I haven't read that book, so I'm not 100% sure. Again, if you know what's going on with all that kind of the maze and The Shining and Ready Player One, please tell me, because that I'll admit I'm a little bit lost on. All right, so anyway, we'll move on. Now, the central esoteric core of this book, Tesla and the Pyramid, is as above, so below, and the number 7. 7's everywhere. I'm born on the 7th. 7's a good number. I used to bet just on horses that were 7. Won a lot of money doing it. So 7, I don't mind that number. It's a good one to me. So it's a part of a lot of the book. It goes on about it. So as above, so below is just classic. It's everywhere. It's like the macro to the micro. There's a million ways to explain as above, so below. And so I'm not going to tell you what it means because my interpretation would just be mine. Now, in Stanley's films, there's always hidden motifs everywhere that appear everywhere. And 7 diamonds are one of his things. So there's always 7 this, 7 that. And each diamond is kind of fused with pyramids, which are ancient symbols for as above, so below. So these are like shots from, films. Like you've got The Shining with Jack Nicklaus. See, I had a bit of a weird thing here, a bit of a deja vu, didn't know what's going on. But if anyone knows The Shining, I thought his name was Jack Nicholas. But here I keep reading Jack Nicholson. Is that right? Or is that a glitch in the Matrix? Like, this isn't in the book. I'm not talking about the book. I'm talking about my own brain. I always thought it was Jack Nicklaus, the guy in The Shining and all those movies. But I keep reading Jack Nicholson. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. But here you can see some of the movies. A Space Odyssey, up on the top right there, where you've got the as above, so below green pyramids being intersected by another pink pyramid. Now that is a big symbol, all right? So the Space Odyssey is just symbolism central. And like even the bottom picture down here, that is the Jack Nicholson one. And you can see there it's the same. It's the pyramids, like the intercepted. And I know that sounds weird, but if you know symbolism, it's what it is. And even when Jack Nicholson was... See, Nicholson, I'm not even used to saying it. It's weird. When he did The Shining, the final scene is him doing hand gestures, as above, so below. Like, how weird is that? That's probably not weird to them because it's all just symbolism, but you can see Full Metal Jacket. A Clockwork Orange is the top left one, which was really weird. If you haven't seen that, might be worth seeing. Just it'll freak you out, guaranteed. So there's Jack Nicholson, and you've got photos of like people that look like Tesla. They could be Tesla, because like he was around then. So you got Jack Nicholson, then you got this dude, and there's another dude just behind him to the left there who looks much the same. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, that's a little bit off topic from the book we're talking about. All right, so I did all that. All right, so in the book, there's a villain. There's always a villain. You need a villain, So he's a government intelligence officer, right? Codenamed Megatron. Now, Megatron's a transformer when I was a kid, but he's not that Megatron, all right? In occult lore, Megatron was the prophet Enoch, all right? So, and he transformed into an angel. In the book, Megatron, the government intelligence officer, he has sentient AI implants, like Neuralink, like Musk, kind of Neuralink thing. All right, so the bad guy has AI chips in his brain, so very controlled. So then, like 3 months ago now, in the real world, I'm sorry that it jumps between the book and the real world so much, but these are the connections we're doing. So in the real world, a Pentagon whistleblower went viral connecting government black projects to Echelon Magic. All right, he tweeted to Elon Musk, about a government sentinel AI that was deaded, we'll say, so I don't get flagged for anything, for revealing too much. In real life, there was a guy, literally happened, texting Musk saying, I know a person or whatever that was transformed basically into a human AI. Now that's pretty bloody weird. Kubrick's or Stanley's last book. It might be completed by Steven Spielberg, like an artificial intelligence kind of one. So we'll see on that one. That's just my guess. Alright, so I'm just going to take a break and get a drink and stuff, so bear with me a moment. I've got to kind of catch up with my thing. Alright, so I'm running out of time, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to be quite quick here. I will continue this one probably tomorrow. So if you like this kind of content or you're interested in following up, I've got a lot more information on this. So thanks for the likes and subscribes. Thanks for all that. I will answer comments. I'll do a Q&A maybe tomorrow when I come back live to finish this up. But I'll just really quickly, I think I'll just get to a few of the main points that I wanted to get to. So we did all the AI stuff and whatever, and then probably what could be the most terrifying part of this book is that the book goes into describing a terrible event, and it's geomagnetic, so it's cataclysmic, and it's supposed to happen in 2040, around then, and its society collapses. And all the elites go underground. They built AI cities underground to survive. Of course, we, the stakeholders, aren't invited, as per normal. And it was funny because the day after I was reading this section of the book, Spain and Portugal had a massive blackout. Like, it went for days. And it was a rare, atmospheric phenomena, is what the media kept calling it. So probably, like sun radiation, sun flare, that kind of stuff was more than likely the culprit. I can't remember exactly because it was, a couple of months ago now. But just in the book, just like the book, it was describing that kind of event, but on a massive scale, like where it breaks all our gear, radio, GPS, everything, and we'd never, we got to rebuild. And funnily enough, they talked about the underground cities that had been built before 2040, where all the elites run off and leave us all out to fall off the planet. And it was funny because I was reading a post that was, or an article that was in the New York Post, as in, the journalists and all that who work for them. And they exposed a $21 trillion underground city project by the US government. And like, that was wacky. Like, they literally had laundered off $21 trillion and there are claims that they did it. They made big underground cities. Like, you'd get a fair bit of value for 21 trillion. And funnily enough, there was a guy, I'm not going to go into this too much, or maybe I'll do a bit more tomorrow, but there was a guy who was who's like an accountant, but a big guy. I can't remember what they call the big accountants anyway. A money's guy, and he was researching government budgets, and he literally came up with a $21 trillion hole in budgets from back in Bush's days, from like 1988 to like 2005 or something like that. I think it was around 2005. So like roughly a 20-year period, 21 trillion had been siphoned off in the real world off government budgets and that kind of thing. Interesting that the book mentions 21 trillion, and then someone actually did the research and found that there is a $21 trillion black hole. Now, all this stuff's a little bit freaky to me. I feel like the disclosure is like, sometimes films and books are put in front of our face to tell us what's going to happen, to tell us what, basically the elites have planned for us. Or it creates manifestation where if we all read a book or we all watch a movie, because we saw it and we've got into it or whatever, if enough people think about something, maybe it just does manifest. Maybe a lot of these things that have happened from this book is because of the book. Enough people read it, enough collective consciousness got together, and things started happening. Now, a lot of things I mentioned are historic. They were before this book was written, but a hell of a lot has happened since the book has been written, and it's literally like it told us exactly what was going to happen. Like I don't know which one was probably the most mind blowing for me. I think there's a lot of them. I think the Vegas Cybertruck blowing up CIA guy is pretty freaky. So yeah, I'll do a Q&A tomorrow. So again, thanks for the comments, likes and follows and stuff when I've been doing this short live. I wish I had more time, but I don't. So we will be back tomorrow. So, follow the channel, whatever you got to do to try to find it. If you do the notification bell, obviously then when I go live, you'll get the notifications. I do enjoy getting on doing lives. I will do a lot more of them. Me and Mindy, my wife, plan on doing a lot more lives. I think we're going to do one next weekend on sort of spiritual warfare, that kind of thing. She has a few topics that she's very into, and you'll meet Mindy in time. But this was Matt B. I pretty much got to get out of here. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll be back to finish this topic because as you can see in the background, I've got more stuff coming up that I've been compiling, and the author of this book, Tesla and the Pyramid, has a really interesting or almost suspicious Twitter account, which I've just been going through in the background. So I think I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about some other stuff because I'm just finding more as we go. Like we've got crop circles in Brazil that just happened. What's that? Like 7 days ago. And they're the exact symbols that are in the book. Like this is insane. They're literally, and it's the pyramid, the eye, but it's a lot of Tesla's work. And yeah, all right. I don't have time to get into this. And that was posted only 4 or 5 days ago. That's amazing. Anyway, I'll have to come back. I literally have to run out the door. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks, guys. Take care. Be good. And yeah, hit that bell or whatever so you can find me to finish this one. And again, we'll do some more on the weekend. Oh, man, I want to be able to stay here and keep going. There's too much good info.